Hi, this is Brogan with the Capabling. I hope you're doing well during this lockdown. Today I wanted to touch on feeling of being and more importantly presence. So yesterday I finally got back into listening to podcasts. I really love me some podcasts. Not a huge fan of books, but podcasts really they get me. Yeah, you get to be driving, enjoying your day, doing such and such, and you can give it a good listen. So I listened to this incredible podcast by Tony Robbins. I'll leave it in the comments. I'll check the description. I'll put the link to the podcast. It was an absolutely incredible podcast. And if you don't know Tony Robbins, like I strongly suggest you give his stuff a listen. But he was speaking on presence and being in the moments and how often we tend to focus on not what's happening but what has either happened or what has yet to come. He spoke on how humans tend to not be in the moment, whether it's in terms of your work, whether it's in terms of relationship. Very rarely do we find ourselves actually in the moment, enjoying that very specific moment, taking it in for what it is, enjoying the car ride, enjoying nature, enjoying your family. More often or not, we be thinking of things like, how am I going to get my business to grow? I'm looking for a job. How am I going to get a job? These are the things. I've got debts. I've got this. I've got that. Or this is what happened. This is what happened to me in the past. I need to avoid it going forward. But very rarely do we find ourselves sitting in the here and now and enjoying it. And this struck me deeply because at work, I'm sure you've got a ton of things going on at your job as well. But at work, we kind of easing out of lockdown, so we don't have the full workforce in. So a lot of people are on short time. So I, in our team, I had the least amounts of days, which I didn't expect to bother me, but oddly enough, it really did. And it didn't make sense to me because I'm not one of those people, or at least I thought I wasn't, but I didn't think I was one of those people who'd be like, oh, so and so's here 5 days and I'm only here 3 days, and I didn't voice it or anything, but it was something that ate at me, and it ate at me for a minute, and after a while I began fighting with myself, thinking, okay, why is this bugging you? And then before long, I realized that I'd been fighting with myself for quite a bit, thinking of, why is this happening? Why is it me? Why is it not someone else? And then it hit me. Why is it me? Like, why isn't it someone else? And vice versa. Why isn't it someone else and not me? Regardless of where it landed, this is simply how the situation is. But for me to then harp on the negative aspect, when I could have easily have taken someone else and said that person had less days than me, but does it really matter? Is it something that should really affect you? Is it something that you should allow to sit with you, take home with you, and ultimately put a damp on your spirit, your mood, your day? Is it something worth letting take over your life? That is something we've often got to ask ourselves, and we don't. We end up in fights with our family. We end up in fights at work. Those fights are fairly common. But more often or not, we find ourselves living in a memory or living in the future. So, for example, I have fights with Rajan today, for argument's sake. And then maybe he said something a little snarky. And I go home and I'm thinking, oh, how could Rajan say that to me? How could Rajan just ruin my day like that? What did I ever do to him? And then I'll be thinking, okay, tomorrow this is what I'm going to do to get back at him. And in all that space of time, I've I've devoted how much time to this negative energy? How much time have I devoted towards making his life miserable? Which is, it's completely ridiculous. And if you're living with your partner or your family or your friends, you you don't want to bring that level of intensity, that level of anxiety, pressure, uncertainty, and just that bad mood. You don't want to take it with you. It's not something you'd like to pass on. It's not something I'd like to come, hey baby, here you go. You hold on to this for me in the morning. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna hand it to Rajan. I don't think it's worth going through a day like that. And it was really deep for me because I never looked at it as presence or not presence. Because my brain has a tendency for just doing its own thing. Like it'll keep pumping out ideas. Like I love solving problems. I love winning, and I know loser. I hate losing. It's not in me. I'm that kind of person. If, for argument's sake, we play some FIFA, and you beat me, I ain't no fan of FIFA, but I'll go out of my way, buy the game, buy the console, play until I'm at that level where I'll beat you. And during the entire game, my mind is only thinking of ways to crush you. If I notice something small, like you like coming up the left, then all I'll do is I'll keep sliding you on the left to make your life miserable. That, that's how deep my desire to win and crush people is. But at the same time, do you want your desires to be something that overpowers those around you or something that empowers them? Because despite what most of us think, our co-workers, our family aren't there to make us miserable. 9 times out of 10, co-workers don't even care what you're doing. More often than not, you find out they don't even know they offended you. I have this co-worker, and she once came downstairs. She came down fuming. She was absolutely fuming. And one of her co-workers had said something that she felt was a little bit racy. When I say racy, I don't mean provocative, I mean racist. And I can't recall word for word what had happened, but what I do recall is that when she told me what that person said, it didn't seem racist to me. And before long, it became a small office debate. And I was the only one who didn't think it was racist. So I sat with it. I gave it a little thought, and I realized why I didn't perceive what was said as racism. Because, simply put, I believe in the intention rather than the execution, which is to say, fair enough, she might have not said something in a way that is PC, but she didn't say it with the intent of being mean or discrediting or putting her down. It was simply said poorly. And she was a bit of an older lady, so you could say, she just had that kind of way of speaking, but it wasn't said with any ill intention. Which brings me back to the issue of presence. When you take a second and just analyze yourself on a day-to-day, how often are you actually in the moment? How often are you feeling the air, you enjoying the drive, the walk, or you with your partner and you're looking them dead in the eyes, and all you focused on is them. All you focused on doing is serving them. And your mind isn't racing to what's for supper, what am I wearing tomorrow, I need to do this at work, where's my laptop, I need to put my laptop on charge. How often are you really giving 100% of your focus, attention, and presence to someone? Because to give someone that level of yourself it's incredible. How it makes them feel, how it makes you feel. And it can be difficult, especially if it's not something you're used to. I know it's very difficult for me to stay focused. When I say focused, I mean focused on a specific item, it becomes, I've gotten so used to running so many things all at once. Like, if I'm doing something, while I do it, I'm running various simulations in my head on how it can fail, what I should do to avoid it, down to ah, this will make you laugh. So I decided to walk to work yesterday. I don't really walk. Work is, it's about 2 kilometers, maybe less. Yeah, 2 kilometers give or take. So I decided I'd walk. I don't normally walk. I used to walk. And on my walk, I forgot my charger. So naturally, I race back. I get upstairs, grab the charger. So I'm walking down. I look at the time. I'm like, okay, I got 25 minutes. In my head, I am literally running simulations about the routes I should take. So I literally said something along the lines of, ensure you take the routes with the minimum amounts of steps. So if I'm crossing the road and I need to be that side, I'm crossing it at a slant so that I can have the least amounts of steps. That is just how much I think. I never realized I was pumping that level of pressure in my brain to keep myself walking at the absolute minimum number of steps so I could make it to work on time. P.S. If you're interested, I was late. I didn't realize before when I was walking from, I live elsewhere pretty close by, so I just assumed the distance was the same. Slightly longer from where I am here. But my point is, you really need to insert yourself into a moment, especially if you're talking to someone. I can't tell you how infuriating it can be, especially for older people, when you're talking to someone, but you pull your phone out and you're having a fat chat on your phone and you're talking to them. It's not really something, it's not something you want to put out. You don't want someone to feel as though you're only giving them parts of your attention and what they're saying isn't completely there, that isn't important enough for you to just take that second, that 1-2 minutes, and fully be in that moment with that person. Look them dead in their eyes and listen to what it is they have to say and respond accordingly. Because if we start putting out that kind of energy will become common within our circles. And wouldn't it be an amazing thing to have just friends, when you guys can get together and you can be absolutely in that moment, whether you guys are having a party, whether you taking a walk or whatever, and everybody's in that moment. It becomes so insane when you go to a party and everybody's got their phone out and everybody be taking pictures. Yeah, guys, this is the most insane party ever. Whole lot of selfies, whole lot of live videos, and then you be like, guys, are you guys really enjoying what's going on here, or are you enjoying the thoughts of what's going on? Because I don't really take a lot of pictures. I'm not a huge fan of taking. I feel like it's a lot of work, and my girlfriend has thousands of pictures. And then you get to me, I think I might have like 20 pictures of myself or pictures of me on other people's devices. I don't take that many pictures. And I think part of it is I really like to enjoy my time with people. Even the people I don't like, I really enjoy my time with them. Because I'm often looking to learn from what it is people know. I worked with this one guy, a Rajan, and he was the most combative natured person I've ever met. He was completely combative. You could not say a wrong thing about Rajan and get away with it. Even if he perceived it as wrong, it was on. It was war. It was World War II. But at first I was a little, I didn't jive with him because I very rarely turn on my war switch, but when I do, I become the kind of person I'm not too big a fan of, because I don't know where to draw the line, and I think I'm a little evil in that regard, because uh, like I said, I do a lot of planning, and it just becomes very convoluted and sinister. So I try my hardest never to get that upset with someone. But Rajan had a short fuse, and one day I spoke to Rajan, and he was one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. The dude, he taught me so much in such a limited space. And that was because I was able to be present. I was able to actually listen and give him my full concentration, so that he felt like, you know what, this is something I want to share. This is something that I know that I think would be beneficial to you. And these are the kinds of things that you learn when you figure out how to be completely present with people, how to completely immerse yourself into someone else, into someone else's existence and being, and to completely be there, listen, watch, and do these things with the intent of learning and being there and just being available to that person. I I hope you enjoy this, because honestly, I had something else planned entirely, and I just went off on a tangent. I That podcast really, it hit me absolutely deeply, and I hope that you'll at least try being more present with those around you, with those you care about. Give them that space, give them that moment to say, baby, this is me and you've got me. I'm looking you dead in the face. And keep your mind there, because I know it can be difficult, especially if you got a chatty lover and she just be going on, and you kind of drift off, because some of the stories, they really are boring. But just to be there and show them that you're there and you care, that that'll have exponential benefits. Trust me. I hope you enjoy. If there's any comments you'd love to make, share, or questions you want to ask, just drop a comment below. I would love to interact. Awesome. Enjoy. Bye.